I just spoke about my parents, but I was curious if anyone in the room has parents who are really big on manners. Just really big on manners. Okay. Like, don't chew with food in your mouth. Or please and thank you, non-negotiable. Please and thank you. What was that? Thank you. How about phones at the dinner table? Absolutely not. No. Eyes on me when I'm talking to you. Eyes on me. And you're cooked if you say, yeah, instead of, yes, ma'am, to your mom. It's worse. Okay. I think manners are a good thing. Like, manners are in, okay? If your parents like manners, that's good. You got good parents. I like manners, actually. I'm a little bit of a rule follower. I like breaking some, but I like manners. Like, I'm cool with them. But there is one manner I just have never been able to nail down. I'm serious. It is a problem for me. I've never been able to master it. In fact, to this day, my mom still calls me out on it. It is the habit of interrupting. Here's the thing. Somewhere along the line in your life, I hope a mom, a dad, a teacher, a coach, a principal told you, informed you that the habit of interrupting is highly rude. It's rude. Now, this can be a problem for those of us who love to yap, okay? The moment a thought comes to my brain, it's like I desperately have to get it out or I'll lose it. It's not easy for us who love to talk. In fact, it's so rude that we often apologize before we even do it. Like, before you interrupt, you usually start with, I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Like, we haven't even said it, but we're sorry for saying it. A few years ago, I went to a Christmas party at my friend Emily's house, and the vibes were up. It was really fun. A lot of girls were there, and at some point in the evening, in the middle of us probably choreographing a TikTok, we overheard an interruption, a word you never want to hear. It was this: fire! Okay. Now let me back up here. The person who shouted fire is my friend Jemiah. If you know Jemiah, the few people laughing down here, she is extremely quiet and mild-mannered and respectful and gentle and kind. And in my 10 plus years of being her friend, I have never in my life heard her shout. We realized what had happened. Emily's fake Christmas tree was slightly too close to a burning candle. And within moments, there were flames engulfed to the ceiling. And don't worry. Jemiah's interruption caused her to grab the hose from the kitchen sink and put it out just as fast as it started. And then, of course, us girls, what did we do? We laughed about it all night. We reenacted it and we rehashed it, adding new details every time. We do that. Girls do that best, right? Jemiah's shout, her interruption, was not rude. It was necessary. Can you imagine if she tried to have good manners? Hey, excuse me. I really don't want to be a bother right now. I know it's a bad time. I know you got some stuff going on. Emily, I'll come back another time. No worries. I'm so sorry. I apologize again. Please forgive me. No! Her shout, her interruption was crucial to ensure the house did not burn down. I came to tell you tonight that we have an enemy. His name is Satan. He's real, and he wants to burn your house down. He wants to burn your confidence down. He wants to burn your identity down, your vision, your dreams. You know what he hopes? He hopes that you will be too polite to interrupt Jesus. And here's what I've come to tell you tonight. You've got to get back to interrupting. Because we have a Jesus who actually likes being interrupted. Sometimes it's necessary to interrupt. Everybody say interrupt. Interrupt. It might not be cute. It might not be well-mannered or worded perfectly. But a true interruption will come from a place of desperation. We just read a story about a woman who was desperate. She had tried everything. exhausted all of her resources, spent all of her money, believed for 12 years. Don't you think that her interruption was necessary? She sat on the side of the road. She knew one touch, one moment could change everything for her. I want you to write this down. Manners don't matter during miracles. Manners don't matter when it comes to miracles. They don't matter. Let's read in Jeremiah 29. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me. When you seek me with all of your heart, I will be found by you, declares the Lord. He says, call on me and I will listen. He spells it out for us. He likes being interrupted. Call on me? What's a phone call? It's an interruption with the hopes to get someone's attention. It's pretty rare that I will be in like an important conversation or a meeting at work or out to dinner with somebody and someone starts calling me that I'll stop and answer because that's rude. It's not a good manner. But there are certain people, family, close friends, that when they call, I'll drop everything. And I will answer right away. Why? Because interruptions don't matter when it comes to close people in your life. Relationships trump rules. And you have a relationship with your Heavenly Father that you can call on, and He will drop everything and answer you. This is why it's important. Because it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing if someone you love is trying to get your attention. Because some interruptions are worth it. Hebrews 4:16. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. You could either pray like this. You have a choice. Hey, Jesus, so sorry to bother you. I know you're busy taking care of the entire world. I don't want to be rude. If you feel like it, I mean, it's no big deal. Or you could pray like this. Jesus, I've come to interrupt you. I've come to interrupt you from my school. I've come to interrupt you from my mental health. I've come to interrupt you from my friend group. I've come to interrupt you for my church. I've come to interrupt you for my city. I've come to interrupt you for my life because interruptions are worth it. One thing I have learned, and I'm learning over and over again, I've heard someone tell me before, that bold prayers honor God and God honors bold prayers. Everybody say bold. I want to talk to you tonight on the subject of miracles. Miracles. Part of the overflow we experience as Christians is the faith to believe God that He will do what He says He'll do. It's a big faith. You could call it impossible faith. I know it sounds big, right? But that's because it is. You know we serve a big God. Like He can do anything. A big God. And He wants to move in your life. That's what impossible faith is about. I'm not just talking about faith in God and believing that He's real. I'm talking about faith in His promises, that He will do what He says He'll do, that He is who He says He is. Faith will rise up on the inside of you. You know, most of us believe that God can do great things, but you might not believe He'll do them for you. I get it. It is hard to wrap your mind around the fact that the same God who did miracles back then can actually still do them today. You might think miracles are historical stories or some type of mystical lore about Jesus. Maybe good, feel-good nursery rhymes told in Sunday school classrooms, somewhere between like Narnia and Wizards of Waverly Place. But tonight, I came to tell you that we still serve a God who does miracles, signs, and wonders. Now hold on. Before we really get into it, I want to tell you this. Some of you have been praying and believing for God to do a miracle, but what you really need to do is plan. Now, you're disguising it as a miracle maybe, okay? Like, I'm telling you, don't stop praying, but add some planning in. Here's what it looks like. God, I need a miracle. I need more money so I can buy sambas to look fresh at conference. Please, God, I need to be fresh. No. You don't need a miracle. You just need to get your money up and stop spending it all at Chipotle. You don't need a miracle. You need a budget. You need a budget. Chipotle has a stronghold on y'all. I don't know what it is. Some of you are praying, God, I need a miracle. I wish he would stop treating me so badly. I wish our relationship would just work out. I wish he would just love me. No, you probably just need to break up with him. Bye. Bye. Some of you, your miracle is like, I just want a girl who's loyal. I just want a girl. Just be loyal, faithful. Honestly, for some of you, that might be a miracle. I mean, getting a girl might be a miracle. Might take an act of God for you to get a girlfriend. What you really need to do, instead of begging God for a miracle, is maybe just like start being nice to girls. Like, hi, nice to meet you. Instead of, can I get your snap? You don't need a miracle. You just need to be nice. You just need to be nice. I'm speaking for all the girls in the room. God, I need a miracle in this area. No, you just need discipline. You just need accountability. A miracle is something that no one else could do. No one else could do. Only God could do it. In preparation for tonight, I studied the 37 miracles recorded in Scripture. Jesus said, how can I prove to them that I am who I say I am? In just 3 years, this is what he did. I'm going to heal people. I'm going to perform miracle working power, show my compassion, help people. In fact, the book of John tells us that Jesus did so many other things as well. We don't even have room to contain it in the Bible. But only 37 made the cut. Find it interesting. They did so for certain reasons. I started this journey of studying them, hoping that God would provide me with like a step-by-step plan for a miracle. Like, I started kind of cross-referencing them and highlighting the similarities and maybe even like hoping to title tonight's message, The Formula for a Miracle, or like 3 steps to a miracle. That was my goal. But, like a surefire plan. Like, do we see God do exactly what I need him to do? Because then I could come here and stand in front of you and package it up nicely and say, here's what you need to do to have a miracle in your life. Everything will go the way you want it to. A perfect formula for a perfect miracle. We know a little something about formulas. 2 + 2 is 4. We didn't all go to the same school, but we know the answer because we all know the formula. It's really easy. It's easy to see, right? Okay, 2 + 2 is 4. You can see it. You can explain it. You can explain how and why you got there. That is what a formula is. But a miracle is something you cannot explain. You cannot explain. There's no such thing as a formula for a miracle, because that would take away our need for faith. If God gave us a formula, say Jesus 3 times and raise your hand and spin in a circle. This would be us every Sunday. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And we would look ridiculous. We would look ridiculous. It would take away our need for our faith. It wouldn't get us anywhere. We would just do that over and over again. A miracle requires faith. If we got a prescription for miracles, it would take away his presence. Go ahead and write this down. Miracles magnify God's power. Miracles magnify God's power. I wrote it down like this. When we get desperate enough to interrupt Jesus, we have to embrace the uncomfortable feeling of not knowing how he's going to do what we're asking him to do. I can imagine this woman who had suffered for 12 years, had enough faith to reach out and touch, but enough desperation to not care how Jesus healed her. Like, she probably didn't even at that point have an opinion on how it all went down. She just knew she needed to have faith. She didn't know how, but she knew who. Let me remind you to not forget God's miracle working power, but maybe forget the form that it came in. Hebrews 11:1 talks about faith. It says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. This verse is telling us that we need faith, but not just any kind of faith, now faith. Everybody shout now faith at me. Now faith. Faith gives you confidence that like what you're hoping for is actually going to happen. It gives you an assurance that the God you've been worshiping all week really exists and really can move in your life. Without faith to believe, you won't witness the miracle. Many of us possess what you call how faith, but not necessarily now faith. You need faith for right now, instead of wondering about how he's going to do it. Because the disappointment of your past faith could erode your present faith. Holding on so tightly to how he did it, how he's going to do it, how, I wonder how. It leaves no room for your now faith. Everybody say, now faith. The faith you have right now has the power to change your life, and it's time to believe again. Whether it's for the first time or you're believing again. Your parents might have had faith, but it's your turn. It's your turn. You can't ride on the coattails of mom's faith. Just because your dad drags you to church doesn't mean you have faith. You're in the environment, but you don't have it on the inside of you. Now faith. Now faith. What's the best time for faith? It's right now. Right now. You see, interruptions are sudden. They're abrupt. They're often necessary, but they're always right now. Right now. Need your attention right now. Your best chance to get what you're believing for is to interrupt Jesus right now. We have an enemy whose only goal to do everything he can to lull you into a lazy, relaxed state when it comes to your faith. He's cool with you feeling no need to interrupt, being afraid to contact Jesus. He loves that you keep putting prayer off. He wants to distract you. He wants to keep your prayers small and ineffective, because his best chance to keep you from praying bold prayers is to rob you of your hope. Everybody say hope. Hope is the gasoline of faith. Your faith is the substance of things hoped for. Maybe you stopped hoping. You stopped hoping your anxiety would leave, so you just tell yourself, this is how I am. This is me. This is what I'm going to be stuck with. And now 2 years have passed, and you've just stopped hoping. I guess I'll never be good enough. I'll just settle for this guy. I'll just settle for this girl. Stopped hoping for a future. My mom's illness, just slowly getting worse. Lost hope. My parents' marriage, it's just inevitably going to fall apart anyways. Why try? My siblings and I, we'll just keep growing distant. I don't have hope. Can I encourage you to get your hopes up? For miracles to happen, the foundational ingredient is faith. It's faith. But to have faith, you must have hope. Hoping is helpful. Can you say, get my hopes up in the room? I'm going to get my hopes up. Come on, can we get our hopes up? Zechariah 9:12 calls us prisoners of hope. I find that interesting. Like, if I'm going to be chained to anything, I'm going to be chained to hope. I'm going to walk around with this spirit of like, why couldn't God do it? Why can't tonight be the night? Why wouldn't he want to heal me? Why wouldn't he want to set my family free? Why wouldn't he want to help me walk into my future? It's hope. It's a confidence. It's faith on the inside of you. Mark 16 tells us that miracles, signs, and wonders follow those who truly believe. If you don't believe, it likely won't happen for you. So where are all my believers? I want to hear from you in the room. That's right. That's right. With God, all things are possible. All things are possible. We don't have to know how God will do what we're believing for. We don't have to know how if we know who. I know who holds today. I know who holds tomorrow. I know who keeps me steady. I know who arms me with peace. I know who gives me strength. I know who gives me confidence. Jesus is his name. He is our healer. We know who's going to do it, but we might not know how yet. And that's okay. Let me say it like this. You will not see the miracle on the other side of the mystery if you do not obey the instructions that don't make any sense right now. They don't make sense yet. None of us like mystery. We don't like mystery. Imagine if we showed up to a restaurant and you sat down and they, instead of bringing a menu to you, they said, tonight will be a mystery dinner. We're getting up and leaving. Imagine if every time you open Netflix or YouTube, they just said, we're going to just randomly randomize and just give you something mystery to watch. No, I want to choose. What if your youth pastor told you, hey, don't worry, guys. I picked out your outfit for tomorrow at Access Conference. Mystery outfit. Mystery outfit. You'll find out when you put it on. No, we want to plan. We want to know how something's going to happen. Hope fuels our faith. Faith is needed for a miracle. How is God going to do it? I have no idea. No idea. What are you still praising for? He hasn't even answered your prayer yet. I know. I'm waiting on it. When is God going to do it? No clue. I'm waiting to find out as well. Ephesians 3:20 says that now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine according to his power at work within us. We have to wrap our faith around the idea that we believe God because he knows better and he will do better than anything we could do in our own strength. That's what faith is. It's like putting our confidence in God because thank goodness he's got it covered. He's the one who's taking care of us. You might ask, why God? Why did you give me parents who argue? Why do I not fit in with that friend group? Why can I not get over this health challenge? Why didn't I get into that college? What God is about to do, there has to be an element that nobody else understands. It's a miracle. How did I get here? No one should be able to explain it. God's the one who opened the door. Because if man does it, man wants credit. If man can explain it, then man gets exalted. But when God does it, it won't be because I did anything great. It's because he did it. Deuteronomy 29 says the secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. There are some things that are just not for us to know. And actually, I think it's kind of freeing. You ever been on a trip with somebody who's the planner? They lead everything and make all the decisions? You kind of just there for fun. Woo, where are we eating next? I don't know. What hotel are y'all staying at? I don't know. I just slept there last night. I don't remember. We're only held accountable for what we do know. You're only held accountable for what you know. God's telling you, you actually don't even have to worry about the things that he hasn't revealed. How he will do it is not even really our business. We have to trust him. We have to do our part, and God promises to do his. In all my studying of the 37 miracles, there is only one factor, common shared theme. And I know you might think it is faith. It actually isn't. There's some people in the Bible didn't even have faith for God to do it, and he still performed a miracle. It's not prayer, because there's some people that didn't even pray about it. Jesus just showed up and boom, they're healed. It's cool, take it. The only thing that is a thread throughout the story of Jesus' miracles is a problem. Because every miracle begins with a problem. Something that needs fixing. Someone that needs healing. I want to encourage you tonight. You're in a good spot if you got some problems going on in your life. Something you don't understand. The Bible says God gives us a peace that surpasses all understanding. What does that mean? When you and I don't understand, it's the perfect moment for God's peace to step in. Now we have a peace. Now we have a confidence. How's God going to work it out? I don't know. I'm trusting him. How's God going to do it? Who knows? I'll tell you when I find out. It's a confidence that we have. When you've got a problem, it's time to get desperate for a miracle. I'm here to stir your faith in this atmosphere tonight. Psalm 34 says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." Have you ever baked something that didn't taste quite right? Like any bakers or chefs in the room? Can't really raise my hand, actually. Maybe the recipe was bad. I did this a couple months ago. I made the worst cookies of my life. I'm not kidding. They ran together like water in the oven. Do you see this picture they're about to put up? Proof. Nasty. Nasty. No one wants to eat that. What's kind of embarrassing is I was trying to bring them over to someone's house for a cookie swap that I planned. And I showed up with no cookies. Sorry, guys, had a problem. I thought I did it right. I lined up all my ingredients. Okay, I had the flour, a few sticks of butter, a couple eggs. And as I looked at the ingredients, I had this realization that if I were to just take a big old bite of that flour, it would not taste good. If I were to try to take a chunk of that stick of butter, it would not taste good. If I were to crack a couple of those raw eggs, swirl them around, and take a sip, it would not taste good. Each of these ingredients could represent the things that we go through in our life. By themselves, they may not be good. But God has a way of taking things that don't look good, and he puts it in there. Of taking things that don't sound good, and he puts them in there. Of taking things that don't taste good, and he puts them in there. And then all of a sudden, he begins working it together. He mixes it up, and he takes what he's worked together, and he puts it in the environment it was created for, in the right environment. And then the moment he puts it in the right environment, what does he do? He turns up the heat. Because what it was meant to be will never become what it was meant to be without being exposed to a little bit of heat. I wonder if there's anyone in the room who's facing a little bit of heat. Heat at home, heat at school, heat in your mind, something you can't escape. I've come to tell you that our God, after putting it in the right environment, about turning up the heat, here's what he does, which is what you and I do when we make cookies. We set the timer. And then you never really know when it's going to be ready. You know when you're making cookies, you just can't sit down for 12 minutes. You're just always you're just antsy. You're going to check. It's not ready yet. Okay, just a little more time. Just a little more heat. I just need to be a little more patient. This is my problem. It wasn't that I messed up the recipe. It was that I was not patient. I didn't wait the time that the recipe required. I was in a rush. I was impatient. I pulled them out way too early, and they did not taste good. They didn't turn out the way that I wanted them to. If I had waited the right amount of time, I would have pulled them out of the oven, taken a bite, and said, now that tastes good. I don't know what you're dealing with right now. You might be looking at the events in your life and saying, that's not good. And that's not good. And that doesn't seem right. And he says, don't you know that I'm working it all together? Because he works all things together for our good. Taste and see that the Lord is good. If it doesn't taste good, he's not done. If it doesn't taste good, he's not done. If it doesn't taste good, he's not done. He's not done. He wants to work it all together. Everyone knows the key ingredient when baking is typically flour. I think the key ingredient to a miracle is faith. The more you work the other ingredients in, expectation, or anticipation, or sacrifice, things will begin to rise. Much like a cake with the right amount of flour will rise. You might even have to guard your mixing bowl a bit. Don't put your negativity in here. Keep your doubts out. Stop complaining around me. You might even have to guard your miracle. You might even have to guard what God is about to do. I think you need to stop trying to convince people and let them see the fruit of your life when God performs the miracle. The purpose of miracles is to inspire unbelievers, people who don't understand yet. Maybe it's more important that you become the miracle rather than explaining the miracle. I love the faith of this woman in the story. Can you imagine it? Put yourself in the story on the side of the road. Imagine suffering for years, trying everything you can to alleviate your pain and ending up worse. Till one day, along comes the man you've heard can cure you. He can put an end to your pain. Do you guys think she woke up early to beat the crowds, try to get there in time? Do you think her family laughed at her when she left the house? I wonder if there were people that were mocking her. Girl, good luck. Don't get your hopes up. He don't have time for you. But she had enough faith. She had enough resolve. She was desperate enough. Some translations say she knew all she had to do was stretch out one finger, not even the hand, one finger, to touch what was touching him, and she'd find relief. Let me be clear. She might have made the move, but Jesus did the healing. This isn't about like wishes, good vibes. We have a maker of miracles. His name is Jesus. He's the one who makes the miracle. I want you to write this last point down. Miracles take a moment of faith. Just a moment. Miracles don't require massive faith. They take a moment of faith. All it takes is a moment. A moment of faith can spark a massive miracle. Maybe you've been robbed of the massive thing God wants to do in your life because you haven't had faith for even a moment. Just a moment. Can you go beyond like praying for it and actually hope that it could happen? Actually believe he could do it. Because just praying doesn't guarantee the prayer will work. You got to put a little bit of hope in there. Jesus said even a mustard seed of faith, y'all know how small a mustard seed is? Like a speck. Can move mountains. A moment of faith can move something massive. We obviously want God to do what he wants to do. Say things like, if it's your will, Lord. But Jesus tells us, my will considers your words. Your words. The words in your mouth. The enemy has you so discouraged that you don't even hope for something and you won't even speak it out loud. You see, the miracle isn't far off. It just needs to be identified. And you need to adopt the mindset of a miracle, one of expectation and anticipation. Like, what if God did it? He could do it tonight. What if God did it in my school? Just like we talked about Hannah, God could do it for my school. What if God did it in my life? What if God healed my mom finally? What if the brokenness in my home stopped finally? What if it did? What if? What if? If you're expecting it and you're not anticipating it, don't be surprised if it doesn't happen. Because miracles require action. Everybody say action. Here's an example. If you want godly friends, you have to first be friendly. If you want to overcome insomnia and actually sleep through the night, take the TV out of your room and turn your notifications off. Action. If you want to start a nonprofit one day, start by serving at someone else's. Action signifies you actually expect something. You start moving. This woman, she reached out because she really thought, this could happen right now. What if I finally find relief? But this is not the only miracle in the story. Let me remind you where this story started. It started with Jairus. He came to get Jesus to heal his daughter. Let's keep reading. It says, while he was speaking to her, they're in the middle of this healing of this woman with the issue of blood, messengers arrived from the home of Jairus, the leader of the synagogue. They told him, your daughter is dead. There's no use troubling the teacher now. It's funny how a disappointing or a trial in your life causes people to point fingers at your God instead of at you. People who don't believe like you do, their first response is to discredit your Savior because your situation looks dead. They might tell you, stop going to church. Don't do all that praying stuff. It's not working out for you anyways. Instead of sitting with Jairus in his pain, their first instinct was to tell him, quit bothering Jesus. Just leave him alone. Quit bothering him. Trying to have some manners. They don't understand that Jesus likes to be interrupted. Can I tell you, you are never bothering Jesus. You're never bothering him. You're never getting in his way. He never wants you to just step aside for a moment. I got something else more important. His eyes are on you. His attention is on you. His heart is for you. Let's keep reading because Jesus, he overheard them. Ooh, overheard. He said to Jairus, don't be afraid, just have faith. Imagine hearing that and your daughter just died. Okay, Jesus, I'll have faith. Jesus stopped the crowd. He wouldn't let anyone go with him. When they came to the home of the synagogue leader, Jesus saw so much commotion and weeping and wailing. He went aside. This is so Jesus. Why all this commotion and weeping? The child isn't dead. She's only asleep. What did the crowd do? They laughed at him. I think we might too. What did Jesus do? He made them all leave. Some of you need to kick the crowd out before you experience the miracle. You're still praying for that? Still praying for that? You serve at that church multiple times a week and they don't pay you? You're saving yourself for marriage and you really expect, it's 2024, you really expect a guy to wait for you? People are putting doubt into your ear, talk into your ear. You gotta kick the crowd out. Miracles and negativity don't mix. They don't mix. He took the girl's father and mother and 3 disciples into the room where the girl was lying. Holding her hand, he said to her, Talitha cum, which means little girl, get up. And the girl, who was 12 years old, immediately stood up and walked around. They were overwhelmed and totally amazed. Jesus did it. Both of the miracles in this story miraculously happened. He did it. 12 years. 12 years. This little girl, 12 years old. Where else did we see 12 in this story? This woman. She'd been struggling for 12 years. One was living for 12 years just to die. One was dying for 12 years just to live. Jesus stopped the blood of one. He started the blood of another. Jesus can do miracles. It doesn't matter what interrupted him. It doesn't matter what's going on. He can do it. He can do it. Both of the girls in this story, the first words Jesus utters to them is, daughter. Daughter. You know what's interesting? Like, daughter, typical. Okay, he's talking to a 12-year-old. Like, sweet girl, daughter. But he talks to this woman, and several translations say that she was unclean. And to give you a little context, to be unclean basically means outcast, unwanted. Like, no one's going to eat the food you're making. No one's going to sit in the seat you're sitting in. Unclean. No one claims her. So Jesus, oh, I love this about him. The moment he sees her, his first word is daughter. He claimed her right away. He said, you're my daughter. I see you. You belong with me. He didn't just say, hey, woman, hey, girl. Daughter, can I tell you, no matter the circumstance you found yourself in, how messed up it might be, Jesus claims you. You belong to him. Doesn't matter the condition. Doesn't matter how much people talk. Doesn't matter how bad it's gotten. He can do it. He can do it, and he claims you. It just takes one moment, one touch, a moment of faith. I wonder if anyone in the room has some faith. I wonder if you would let the faith rise up on the inside, that he can do it, that he is who he says he is, that he'll do what he says he'll do, that he's the God in the Bible. He might have performed miracles back then, but he's still working today. Wonder-working power, chain-breaking power, miracle power. He can stop blood, he can start blood. He can get you into your dream college. He can save your parents. He can set your siblings free. He can heal your body. He can do it. One moment, just a moment of faith. Just a moment of faith. I don't know where you find yourself in this story. Maybe you're Jairus. Imagine being him. You were the one who went and got Jesus. Jesus, I need a miracle. Like you did what you were supposed to. You went and got him. You went and interrupted him. Jesus, I need help. I need a miracle. And while Jesus was healing everyone around you, setting people free, healing this woman, the thing you were believing for died. Jesus, I'm the one who came and got you. Are you serious? She wouldn't have even gotten healed if it weren't for me. She wouldn't have even experienced her miracle if it weren't for my faith. I'm the one who brought you here, Jesus. Like a jealousy of her miracle. But Jesus, he can be multiple places at once. In fact, he can be ahead of us at once. He can be behind us. There's nothing that's too hard for him. I can imagine that Jairus was probably a little irritated. Like, Jesus, okay, heal her. Cool. Let's keep moving. Like, why are you stopping to talk to her? You could have just let the healing power go out from you. It would have been all good. I'm sure she would have been good with it. Like, why the conversation? Why the chit chat? Let's get going. I've got a daughter who's dying. I need you to come to my home. I'm the one who came and got you. Jesus, please. Stop, come on. He was begging Jesus. Here's what I've found, is that sometimes miracles intersect one another. Two miracles at once. That's how Jesus works. I can't imagine he planned out his day miracle by miracle. Like 9 a.m., let's heal this boy. 10 a.m., let's set someone free from jail, okay? Like 11 a.m., let's let this blind man see. 12, okay, time for lunch. Anyone want fish and loaves? Like, Jesus probably didn't schedule out his miracles. But if I know one thing about Jesus in this story, is that he purposefully let the interruption take a little bit longer. That this intersection was planned. This intersection was on purpose. Why? Because Jesus didn't want to heal Jairus' daughter. He wanted to resurrect her. He wanted to raise her. Jairus wanted healing. Jesus wanted a miracle. Jesus wanted resurrection. Jesus wanted to set her free. Oh, I found that an intersection, that an interruption is the perfect moment for Jesus to take things that seem dead and raise them back to life. Things that seem gone, things that seem way too far off, things that seem way too high for us to reach. That's the perfect moment for him to step in, because he wants to display his miracle working power. That is our Jesus. That's the one we worship. That's the one we worship. My miracles don't need manners, because miracles magnify God's power, and miracles only take a moment of faith. An intersection, an interruption, is a setup for God to bring something back to life. Back to life. What is it for you? Your dreams have died. Your family is struggling. You feel numb and you want your joy back. You can't stop having dark thoughts. You can't stop doing what you know you're not supposed to do. Hope fuels faith. Faith gets God's attention. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let faith rise in the room tonight. We're gonna get God's attention with our faith. Is anyone willing to interrupt just a little bit? Is anyone willing to God, I need you. I don't care how crazy I look. I don't care if I'm not following all the manners. I don't care if I have to interrupt. I don't care if I have to shout. I don't care if I have to lift my hands, and I've never done that before. It's worth it to get the miracle you've been praying for. So here's what I want to do. If you're in this room and you need a miracle, I've been fasting and praying for this moment. And I've included a lot of people to pray with me. So you've got an army of people who came into tonight knowing that there would be young people in this room that desperately need a miracle. And if you'll remember, a miracle is not something that you could plan, something you could eventually work out. A miracle is something only God could do. Like a miracle. This is something that you would have to look back on and say, that had to have been God. There's no way I could do it in my own power. That people would look outside looking in and say, she had an encounter with God. Maybe they don't even believe in God. And you go back to your school, you go back to your home, you go back to your sports team, and there's something different about you. It's not that you dress cooler or that you talk different. It's that you've now got this new confidence on the inside of you because you saw God do a miracle. Something only He can do. I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what it is for you. If I had to guess, we all need a miracle in some place. But you know if it's something you desperately need God to do right now. And I'm talking like big, like stuff beyond your wildest dreams, because that's the kind of God we serve. The one who can do exceedingly, abundantly, above all we can ask, think, or imagine. The God who, when we have big dreams, He goes higher. When we have big plans, He goes further. That's the kind of God I'm talking about. Not like good hopes and get your vibes up, feel good when we leave the service. I'm talking about miracle working power, a sign, a wonder from God. I'm gonna count to 3. And if you need a miracle, I need you to shoot both hands up in the air. A miracle in your family. You need your parents' marriage to be restored. A miracle over your addiction. You tried everything. You can't stop. A miracle in your future. I'm just so restless, God. I don't know what to do next. I need a miracle. God, speak to me. I'm about to be 18 and I don't even know what I want to do with my life. I'm talking big, like a miracle that only God could do. 1, I want both hands in the air. Only do it if you mean it. Don't do it because of hype. Don't do it just because it'll make you look good. Do it if you need it. 2, 3, shoot those hands up. You need a miracle from God. You need a sign. You need a wonder that His miracle working power is real. That it's in this room, that He can do it. I'm going to pray and then we're going to worship the God who performs miracles. Oh, He's the one who can do it. Nothing is too hard for Him. Come on, Access, lift your voice. Come on, say out loud what you need. Identify it. Use your word.